In a world of endless fandoms, one podcast dares to cover them all. Welcome to Between Two Batcaves, your go-to HQ for everything from comics to the screen and all the IP in between.
Join your hosts, Austin and Jordan, for weekly coverage of the comics, shows, and blockbuster hits that keep us coming back for more. So thanks for hanging with us and being part of the next entry into the Batcave saga.
All right, hello, and thanks for hanging with us today on this episode of Between Two Batcaves. We are your hosts. I am Austin, and he is Jordan. And today, we are going to be discussing A Knight of the Seven Kindoms, Episode 5, In the Name of the Mother. Could not remember whose name it was in the name of the mother.
Somebody's name.
We got a lot to talk about, Jordan. I know. So this is you've watched it twice, and I literally just watched it for the first 5 minutes ago into the episode and hopped on here. So we have two different perspectives today. We got a lot to talk about. Before we can do that, got to cover a couple things as we always do at the beginning of the episode. If you like what we're doing over here on Between Two Batcaves, please let us know. A few ways you can do so. First, you can follow the pod on the podcast platform of your choice. Second, you can rate and review the pod. Guys, a 5-star rating in a few words, it goes such a long way. Truly. If you've been with us for a while and you haven't left a review yet, please do so. We want to know what you guys are thinking of the show. We think that we've been doing a lot of fun new stuff recently, and we want some feedback on that. So please help us. Let us know if we're moving in the right direction.
One way, I gotta jump in. One way to know
I could tell
that we are, I think, moving in the right direction is we have hit our February goal as we sit and record here on February 16th. So barely halfway through the month, we have officially hit 50 subscribers on YouTube. That's after a couple months being on there. So, it's exciting. Congratulations to you, sir.
And congratulations to you. I want to circle back to that point in just a second here, because we have to take a couple minutes to explain what the next step of that is.
Yes.
But I will just say to cover the usual programming stuff. Lastly, just share the show with a friend. And Jordan, I realized today I forgot to say that this is our 44th episode. So who do you have for us today for number 44?
Pretty easy one. Shout out Vontae Leach. If you know, you know.
Heard it here first, guys. All right. Let's see. Next, if you are watching the show, thank you so much for doing so. We are on Spotify and YouTube. Jordan just told you that big achievement has been accomplished over on YouTube. So thank y'all for all the support over there.
Yes, thank you. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, I should say, I think you were being greeted to a little visitor in my bottom right-hand corner here. Got Lola over here. Doing a little self-grooming here on a Monday afternoon. So
that's what you get as a gift for being here and watching Between Two Batcaves. You get to watch a dog lick herself for an hour and a half.
It's basically what we're doing.
So lastly, the socials. We are on, Facebook, Twitter, Insta, TikTok, Blue Sky, at Between Two Batcaves with the number 2, except for Twitter, wouldn't let us have it. So we are at B2 Batcaves with the number 2. One day we will get to the bottom of that. And lastly, we can be reached at betweentwobatcaves@gmail.com. So all that being said, like I said, Jordan, I want to send it over to you to tell everybody what we're doing today, what we're doing next week. But first, let's take a couple minutes here to talk about the 50 subscribers on YouTube.
Yes,
shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, so 2 weeks ago, we issued the February challenge of trying to hit 50 subscribers on YouTube. Last week, we fleshed out the details a little bit more and basically said that if we do hit that subscriber count, that we will be doing a subscriber selected Multiversals mix-up episode.
Yes.
So let's get some details on that to the audience here. First of all, we've already said it, but thank y'all so much for subscribing and watching Between Two Batcaves.
Yes,
It's
thank you.
absurd that there's 50 people out there that subscribe to Between Two Batcaves on
Just
YouTube.
took the second to hit that button. Yeah.
And engage with us over there. It's crazy because we're just over here having these conversations that we've been having for, 20 plus years. I mean, the conversations 20 years ago, they were like slightly less articulate, but not that much less articulate. Our
Yeah.
analytical skills have not grown that much.
I don't know if that's like a better reflection on us when we were younger or like a poor reflection on our growth since then. Like, were we really advanced back then, or have we just not done enough since then?
We were advanced kids and behind the curve as adults.
That's my general understanding of the curve.
So, okay, back to what we're doing here. Okay, so, guys, you helped us hit that 50 subscriber mark on YouTube, which means that you guys get to pick an episode for us. We're going to be doing multiversal mix-ups. If you've been with us for a while now, you might know what we're talking about, but let me refresh your memory. So basically, what multiversal mix-ups is an episode where Jordan and I will take an existing property, an idea, a scene, a book, whatever it might be, something from the world of fandoms that we love, and we flip it on its head. We turn it upside down, and we kind of just talk through what it would look like if the reverse thing happened, or whatever scenario it is that we're setting up would happen. A great example of this is our most recent multiversal mix-up episode, where we took the snap in Infinity War, and we played out the events of Endgame if Thanos had snapped the other half of the Avengers instead. This is making sense, right, Jordan?
Oh, yeah. Making sense to me. But,
okay.
So, is that the barometer that we want to go by? I do not know.
So the idea here is, if y'all have an idea out there that you just have always kind of thought about, like it's just been bugging you. It's like, okay, well, what if Anakin Skywalker didn't go to the dark side? Or, what if the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lived on top of skyscrapers instead of in the sewers? Or whatever. Do you have another good example?
Yeah, this is a little peek into what I might be talking about at the end of the episode, just some little bits and pieces, but been on a big Hunger Games kick lately. So if you wanted to send a representative from every house of Game of Thrones into the Hunger Games, who are you sending? The Hunger Game of Thrones. Who are we sending?
I like that one a lot. Shoot,
then we might have to add that to the short list.
we're going to do that anyway. Okay, so I think y'all get the point here. But we want to hear from you. We want to know what you want us to talk about. So here's what needs to happen. One, you need to be subscribed to YouTube. If you are, then let us know what you want us to discuss in the episode. You can do that either through DMs on any of the socials. You can
drop it in the comments on the
video,
socials.
Yeah. Exactly. Comments work. You can email us if you really want to. We'll find a good idea, or maybe if it's several ideas that could all fit within one episode, we'll cover several topics. We want to have fun with this episode. So send us your ideas, and just make sure that you're subscribed to YouTube. And I think the plan right now is to get the episode done by the end of the month.
I think so.
Maybe the last week in February.
Before March really gets crazy.
Yeah. So, guys, you get to pick an episode that we do. And listen, if you know Jordan and I, you know that we like to have a lot of fun with this stuff, and we get way too into the weeds with it. So we're not just going to take your topic and spend 5 minutes discussing it. It'll probably be at least a 20-25 minute topic discussion.
This is your opportunity to like send us off the deep end. So
yeah,
please take that and run with it, and come up with something good.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens here. But all right, so that handles that. Jordan, why don't you tell everybody what we're doing today and what they can expect from us next week?
Yes, sir. Well, you mentioned it earlier. Today we're talking about episode 5 of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, In the Name of the Mother. Gonna be really getting into the weeds here, I think. we're going to spend some time talking about this episode of TV, which, spoiler alert, we both loved. So we're going to be talking about that episode of TV. Before we do that, we're going to be getting into the Oracle report just a little bit. Couple developments here that we have to discuss. And Austin, I don't know if you got anything. You've been a little bit busy, but I got a couple just extraneous things that have been kind of taking up my time and my energy lately that I've been really enjoying that I would like to share with you and with everybody else at home. And then I guess we'll get out of here today. But one more episode of Night of the Seven Kindoms to come out this coming Sunday. So we haven't talked about it, but I think we'll be talking about it on this show. Find a way to record an episode reviewing the finale of this season of TV. And yeah, we'll see what we get multiversal mix-up wise. See if we can squeeze an episode in there in the next few weeks. And then, I mean, March is going to be off to the races, like we talked about with The Boys, Daredevil. What else we got coming in March? I think there's another big one, Invincible. Yeah, so things are going to be heating up here, suffice to say.
Yeah. Let's see. I think that covers everything. You want to get into the Oracle report?
Yeah, I got a few here. I don't know if you have anything that you wanted to talk about, but
I do, but I'm pretty sure we'll have the same topics.
Yeah, let's start with the big one that I'm sure you have on your list. We got like the first full trailer for Spider Noir, new series coming to Amazon Prime, 8-episode miniseries dropping binge mode on May 27th. So about 3 months out from that, finally got the full trailer. We are following Nick Cage's Ben Reilly in 1930s New York City, I think it is. Backdrop of like Nazism on the rise, prohibition still a factor. And we got Ben Reilly, who's playing like a down on his luck private investigator, who also happens to be the Spider. Not connected to the Spider Noir that we got in Spider-Verse or any other version. This is like its own thing. But
isn't it?
I think so. I think I think because he's playing Ben Reilly, like that's confirmed. It's different.
Yep.
But we got 2 trailers, black and white and full color, which is how they're going to be dropping the show. We're going to get both versions. I think I'll be watching in black and white. I don't know about you, but
I agree.
What do you think about this trailer?
Yeah, dude. A couple thoughts. One, first thought is just, boy, oh boy, does this look weird. And I would expect nothing less from a show starring Nick Cage as Spider-Man in black and white. Of course it's going to be weird. I think it's going to be absolutely delightful. And honestly, like, I texted this the other day in our group chat with a couple of our other buddies. One of our friends had sent this trailer, and I said that this could be like a sleeper show of 2026. It's got some legs to it, 8 legs, if you will. It's
8 episodes.
Yeah, man. I think it looks cool. I think it looks like dark and dreary and gonna have like some interesting elements of comedy. I mean, it's Nick Cage. He's a weird dude. It's gonna be a weird show. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's interesting. This feels like out of all of the live action Sony Spider-Verse spin-off things that we've gotten since Venom, this is the one that like I'm maybe most looking forward to, aside from maybe that first Venom movie.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair.
But really only as a result of this trailer. Like it wasn't on either of our hype lists going into this year. I don't even think it made an honorable mention.
I don't think so.
But like you said, it seems like they're kind of really just going for a specific tone and vibe here, and not just kind of like another, like 90-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle with something like Craven. That probably wasn't even that. It was probably like a 79-mile-an-hour fastball that gets just smashed out of the park, not in the good way. But yeah, it just seems like they're doing something different here. The fact that we are getting like the full black and white release like shows like their commitment to doing like the stylized thing. the fact that Nick Cage is a part of it in and of itself is like a draw. Obviously, like what he did in the animated movie was a lot of fun. And even if this is a slightly different version of the character, seeing that tone like brought to life in the world that he's inhabiting, because like the comedy of it in the Spider-Verse movies was that he's the only noir character amongst like a bunch of other,
Yeah.
comic ridiculousness. We take him and drop him into like his home environment and just get like a story that's taking itself seriously there. Like that could be pretty fun.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be ridiculous. But also, I think it's going to shock us. I think it's going to, I mean, just like the trailer was super cool. We saw some interesting villains out of this
Who we
trailer
got?
that I think will be,
We got
let's see,
Molten Man.
Molten Man. We got a spider like
Yeah.
god. We got like one of, the totem gods. We
I don't know if I saw
got
him in the trailer, but I know we're getting Sandman
Sandman.
in the
Yep, I
show.
was going to say Sandman and Electro, right?
Yeah, yeah. Also, not sure
Yeah.
if I might have just missed him in the trailer.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like there might be one or two more. I can't remember off the top of my head here. But yeah, no, I think they're just gonna dive off the deep end, go like super into the lore, and just understand that like realistically, like people that are watching this show, like you're either watching the show as one of two people. You're watching the show as either a Nicolas Cage fan or as a Spider-Man fan or both.
Yeah,
This isn't gonna attract like the foot traffic on Amazon unless it gets really good word of mouth, which I mean it could. Who knows?
that's a good point. I mean, at the same time, it has the Spider-Man of it, which like that's gonna be a draw regardless.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it is it enough? We'll see. Like I don't know if it'll reach like Fallout Season 1 levels of hype. But something like, did you ever watch Mr. and Mrs. Smith? The series that
No,
they did
no, I never got
on
around to that.
Amazon. That was a couple years ago. And that was really good.
Yeah.
And I remember it didn't
The
like
one with
blow
Donald
up,
Glover,
but
right?
yeah, Donald Glover
Yeah.
and Maya Erskine, I think her name is.
Mhm.
Really good. And it like I said, like didn't blow up. Like you haven't seen it. Like not a knock on you. I think that's just like a reflection of the show, to where it did kind of have a moment, but not like the staying power. I could see that kind of being the case here.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a fair comp. Yeah, needless to say, we'll both be tuned in.
Parting question: the last shot of the trailer where we get to see him swinging through the city. What do you think? Did they give you confidence in that aspect of the Spider-Man of it all for the show, like going forward with that brief clip of the swinging?
I mean, is it wrong to say I liked it? It's
I think it worked better in black and white.
That's totally fair. Yeah,
Which I think
it's
is
like you said,
another
it's
like
a
kind of
Sony
cheat code.
Spidey
Yeah,
project.
yeah. I think the black and white is a good cheat code to get around some of like the limitations of like the television production of it.
That's a really good point. You can kind of get away with a little bit more of the like I don't want to say cheap because like that's not what I mean, but you know what I'm getting at. Like
Where you kind of have to
that
stretch the believability of things a little bit more.
yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of similar
And
to Werewolf by Night.
totally, totally.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking that a lot when they, did the release of one black and white, one in color. Reminded me of the, we got Werewolf at Night in black and white, and then a year later we got the in color version. And so yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch black and white first, and if I like the show enough, I'll go back and watch it in color.
I think I'm with you.
Cool.
All right. Well, we're not moving too far. We're still talking Spider-Verse. I don't know if you saw some come out of the Hollywood Reporter earlier this week, where apparently not only are we getting Spider Noir like in the next few months, apparently Spider-Gwen and Spider-Punk movies are both in active development at Sony.
This is
First
for real?
question, did you hear about this?
I heard about it. I didn't know this was like confirmed.
Well, it's one of those, I think it was in like the Hollywood Reporter's like email newsletter that they do as like a line, but like that's coming from a, reputable trade there. So, I mean, whether or not these movies actually happen, I do think it's legit that they're talking about it.
Any indication on if they're going to be animated or live action?
I think these would be animated. I don't know
Okay,
how you
good.
do Spider-Punk in live action.
I think both of the characters, at least in the iterations that we've seen, serve much better in animation. I think that, yeah, Spider-Punk, obviously he has, that whole aesthetic and an entirely like different, like his whole thing in the Spider-Verse movie is that he's animated on like a different frame set so that, he sticks out from the other characters. I think that that is like a really good way of representing like the anarchist within him. And I think that Spider-Gwen is like so like elegant and like
Hmm.
ballet focused in her movements that that would be kind of hard to do in live action. I'm not saying impossible for either of the characters, but I just like the animated versions that we've gotten of them.
I completely agree. I also the likelihood of getting Daniel Kaluuya and also Haley Steinfeld to do those roles in live action, like they got Nick Cage here, I wouldn't bet on that. So
Yeah, yeah.
I would bet on animated. My only other thought is let's get Beyond the Spider Verse out first before we start doing all this. Like, can we please
You
get
know,
that undone first?
now that's an idea. I hadn't thought of that before. Buddy, you got a good head on your shoulders. You know that?
You
You
know,
really do.
some people say that. I don't know. But at this point, I don't know. It's just like I get it. It makes sense. Like you're probably having these conversations naturally as you're developing Beyond the Spider Verse. So like I don't think this is to say that like they're actively taking away from production on Beyond to work on these spin-offs, but like let's get this movie out. Let's
Yep,
get this movie out there.
yep.
That's all I got here. I don't know. Um, Final piece that I have here, and then anything that you got. This isn't even really an update. It's like an update for an update. We're recording this on Monday, February 16th. Um, we are going to be getting, I think, the final trailer for Mando and Grogu tomorrow.
Mm.
They did one of those like trailers for a trailer that they dropped on social media earlier today. Um, I'm hoping that we finally get a couple lines of dialogue in this trailer, maybe a hint at like the actual story of this movie. That'd be kind of cool. Um, it's interesting. Typically, for like a tentpole movie like this, I'll watch the first trailer, get the vibe, and then like I'm like I don't need to see any other promotional material. I'm going to
It's
go see
quite
this
the
movie.
opposite.
Now I'm sitting here, we're 3 months away from this movie being out, and I'm like desperate to have some indication that we're gonna have something that we can latch onto with this story. So I mean,
Yeah, no.
we'll probably talk about the trailer itself maybe next week, or maybe we'll find another way to do like a little brief segment talking about the trailer, put it out there on the socials or something like that.
Mm.
Um, if it warrants that, I guess that remains to be seen. But this is also one where it's like, why wouldn't you drop it at the Super Bowl?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. So, I mean, first of all, I'm with you. I do hope it's hard to. I understand it's hard to get some dialogue in a trailer for a movie with two protagonists who don't really talk, but you got to figure something out. But yeah, man, it's weird just because this is making me like I'm not writing this movie off by any measure right now, but it is making me nervous with the promotional content that we've seen for it, that they are banking on the Mando and Grogu name,
Yep.
and they think that that's going to carry them to where they need to be. And they might be right about that. They might be right that the Mando and Grogu name can, sell 500, 600, 650 million dollars worth of tickets. They might be right about that.
Yep.
But what's going to be detrimental to the Star Wars brand is if this comes out and it sucks. And so, yeah, I hope that they're not just relying on that brand name. I do want to ask you though, what did you think of the Super Bowl spot?
I, honestly, I had no thoughts. Like, it inspired nothing in me.
It inspired nothing. I 100% agree. However, I liked it. I mean, Sam Elliott narrating Mando and Grogu in a classic like Budweiser,
Yeah, the
like horse show.
Clydesdale
I mean,
spoof.
it was
Yeah.
it was funny. It was funny. Don't get me wrong. Was I upset that we didn't get a actual Mando and Grogu trailer? Yes, I was. But it was funny.
it was, yeah, it was like a nice little moment, but it was also one where you're expecting more. So you're like, wait, is that it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now you can kind of go back and appreciate it and like, yeah, okay, I see what they're doing. It's a nice little, just a little call, but in the context of like, I think this movie and the marketing is being received didn't inspire much.
No, no. Yeah,
That was, it's
wasted airspace.
have we recorded since the Super Bowl? Have we talked about any other commercials? I think we must have, but maybe not.
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I'll just say absolute travesty of like a commercial selection for the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, man, it was
Horrible. There was
downhill.
There was one commercial. It was the I think it was a Budweiser commercial actually, where they had the horse and the eagle growing up together, and they just watched them grow up throughout their life stages. That was the only commercial that is worth mentioning.
Evoked any kind of reaction out of you.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that was cool.
No,
they got the
man,
shot with the eagle wings behind the
then.
horse.
Interesting. But okay. What else? You got anything else for the Oracle report?
I think that just about covers it. I got nothing else over here.
Okay, cool. Because we got an episode of TV to talk about.
That we do. You want to do it?
I want to do it so bad.
All right, let's do it. We're going to talk about episode 5 of Night of the Seven Kingdoms here, In the Name of the Mother. If you haven't watched us review an episode of TV here before, here's how we're going to do it. I am going to issue a spoiler warning because we're going to be talking about what happened in this episode, our thoughts and feelings about it. But before we can do that, just have to kind of give you a rundown of what actually happened, give you the play-by-play. And we're going to do that with the Batcave recap. After we do that, we're going to talk about what worked about the episode, what didn't work, maybe throw out some bat signal spotlights. I don't foresee any broken batarangs coming out to play here. Also, I don't know about you.
I've been looking for batarangs in my belt, and I can't find any, dude.
They're pretty pristine.
I'm out of batarangs, out of broken batarangs.
So gonna have to do that, and yeah, we're gonna talk about the episode and any lingering questions that we might have. And I like how we have here, like you mentioned earlier, you're kind of fresh off watching it for the first time. I have just completed my second watch, so I kind of went into it with some questions that I wanted to kind of answer for myself as I was watching through the episode and let it guide me a little bit. So we're going to get that dichotomy in play here.
Cool.
Without any further ado, though, I think it's time, though, that we get into the Batcave recap here. All right. So we're talking about episode 5 of Night of the Seven Kingdom, In the Name of the Mother, directed by Owen Harris, written by Hiram Martinez, T. McKell, and Ira Parker. We pick up here at the end of where episode 4 left off with Prince Baelor Breakspear giving Team Dunk a pep talk before the trial of 7 commences. The trial begins, and Prince Arian almost immediately knocks Dunk off his horse, stabbing him in the gut with his lance in the process. Dunk is knocked off his horse and straight into a flashback, showing us the events that took place directly before his joining Sir Arlen as a squire. We meet a young Dunk here and his friend Rafe as they try to make their way through Flea Bottom and King's Landing. They're looting the leftover corpses from the Blackfire Rebellion in the hopes of saving up just enough coin to buy their ways across the narrow sea to a new home in the Free Cities. However, they realize that they can't afford the trip as the rates have doubled with how many people are trying to flee King's Landing just like they are. Rafe is then brutally killed by a bandit who caught her pickpocketing from him, and Dunk is about to meet a similar fate when a drunken Sir Arlen stumbles out of a nearby inn to violently dispatch of the bandits. Dunk, who has nowhere else to turn, follows Sir Arlen on his travels until he ultimately decides to take Dunk on as his squire. We flash right back into the trial of the 7 as Dunk regains consciousness, and Dunk and Arian begin to trade blows, with both of them drawing serious blood from the other. Dunk nearly falls, but Egg and the memory of Sir Arlen pull him back from the brink, and allow him to take the upper hand on Arian. Prince Arian yields, and Dunk stands victorious. Following the battle, Dunk thanks Prince Baelor for his bravery and his assistance, and humbly asks that he take him into his service as his knight. Baelor is in the process of doing just that when he suddenly collapses, and Dunk realizes that he sustained a fatal blow to the back of the head from his brother Prince Makar's mace. Prince Baelor dies in Dunk's arms as we're left to ponder how the ripples of the Trial of Seven at Ashford Meadow will be felt throughout the realm. That has been your Batcave recap for episode 5 of Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Well done, my friend.
Thank you, sir. What do you think? I gotta know.
Okay, so we talked about this briefly before the episode started. How we're going to talk about this today is we're going to talk pre-flashback, talk about the flashback, and then talk about post-flashback. But obviously, let's start overarching thoughts here. Dude, holy cow. What an episode of TV. We need to remember this episode. We need to remember Owen Harris. We need to remember Ira Hoffman. We need to remember this episode of TV when it comes around to like award season, because I mean, I think this is going to be a major contender. This by far for me is the best. I granted we're early in the year, but it's the best episode of TV we've gotten all year, and I think it's going to be hard to beat.
I think I'm right there with you. Yeah, it was awesome. And going back and rewatching it for a second time just like reinforced that. I had questions about like how the flashback in the middle of the episode would kind of sit overall. And going back and rewatching the episode, you see how the events of those flashbacks like really inform what is happening in the Trial of Seven, and you know what happens immediately preceding and following going into the flashback. So it's just like just further informing Dunk as a character and this world that he's grown up in, and you know why it is that he finds himself in this insane situation. So to be able to put all that together and deliver like just like an all-time Game of Thrones moment with Baelor at the end of the episode, which this moment, I won't say it was spoiled for me, like going from our or TikTok comments. Like I think somebody comment on one of our videos like Prince Baelor, we're gonna lose him before we ever got to know him. Like I wouldn't say
I
that's
think
spoiled.
somebody also commented, man, I can't wait for him to be king. And I was like, okay, that's a little cheeky.
So like I think deep down we kind of like, obviously we know the Targaryen Empire comes to ruins within another couple generations, right? Like Baelor isn't going to step in and set everything right. We know something's going wrong, and we can kind of read between the lines there. So we kind of see that coming at the end, but like it's just reminding me of like the reveal with the Egg/Aegon, the Egg/Aegon reveal at the end of episode 3, where you kind of, or at least I knew that was coming, but it still hits because of how it's done. Like to have Dunk have this moment of victory and of recognition and of like hope for a future in service of a good man in Baelor, and to have him have that literally die in your arms, and to then like start to think about what the ramifications of that are going to be, not only for your life, but for the entire realm. It's just, like I said, it's just one of those classic Game of Thrones moments. So,
oh yeah, no, it's up there with the best of them. I mean, truly, I'll cap off the overarching thoughts here, just to say, obviously, we're going to get into the nitty gritty of the details of all this, but there was so many moments in this episode where I audibly gasped, like hands over my mouth, just oh my God, or like I winced, or you know, like moments in Flea Bottom where I was genuinely like choked up, like it just moments where I mean this episode like really did its job and made me feel things, and I mean the brutality, the emotion, the drama, the relationships that we got to see unfold in this episode, like you said, culminated with this big Game of Thrones reveal at the end. I think this episode's going to stand the test of time, and going to be in that conversation when we talk about greatest episodes of Game of Thrones television.
So, okay, let's talk about what we get before the flashback happens. So this is, we get basically the Prince Baylor pep talk. And what my
Yep.
main takeaway from this little these brief couple moments here that we get is just, this is the glimpse at what a King
Could have
Baylor
been.
could have looked like, where he's able
Yeah,
to
man.
command this group of, loyal, or not, I shouldn't say loyal, but like steadfast knights who, you get the Laughing Storm there, you have the Humphreys, to everybody there who's there to fight alongside of Dunk, and he's able to kind of take the ribbing from Lionel and like the side comments from everybody else in the circle and still be like, okay, don't die, here's how we're going to do this, and still like continue to lead through like what a lesser man, like somebody like Arian or even like maybe Makar, would react negatively to if somebody tried to, make a comment like Lionel did to them. They might respond as to say, you know what, you're on your own then. Something like that.
Lionel, who has the most majestic helmet I've ever seen,
Oh,
by the way. Just got to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
his armor,
absolutely glorious.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's so pompous, but it's glorious.
They've nailed like the Thrones armor looks in this series, because you get that. You get even the Fossaway armor with the apples. It's like a ridiculous look. Like it's, have you ever seen that subreddit where it's like horrible idea, but great execution?
Yeah.
Like that's what's going on with the Fossaway armor with the apples. Like,
yeah.
Wouldn't choose that myself, but you executed the vision.
Yeah, looks good.
So yeah, they're really nailing the armor design. What else do we get right before? So we get right up until he gets knocked off the horse, right?
I'll say, yeah, that's obviously like, I think the big moment that was, I texted you immediately after that moment, and I was like, holy cow. Because so, like we get this epic pep talk, and then it starts, the showdown begins. You have Dunk frozen kind of in fear, Egg cheering him on. We charge into battle, and based on the where we left off in episode 4 and where we're starting in episode 5 with this pep talk, you're just like, you're fired up, you're like, let's go Dunk, like you are all, you think things are going to go well, and then what happens? The first interaction that we get, he gets a lance through the gut, knocked off his horse, lance through the gut, and you're like, what in the world just happened? Not only that, followed by a mace to the helmet, which knocks him unconscious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to talk more later when we talk about the later parts of the episode about just like how brutal like the fight choreography in this episode was.
I got some notes because, as you know, I'm currently doing a lot of studying regarding the human body for my new career. And several moments in the episode, I was like assessing signs and symptoms, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Like, I got to get in there.
I was like, this ain't, listen, you know how long it takes to bleed out from a femoral bleed? 2 minutes, okay? 2 minutes.
He's not hanging in there like that.
No.
We're gonna talk about it more. We're gonna talk about it more. Last couple thoughts though from before we jump into the flashback. One, I think we gotta question Dunk's film watching capabilities, because Arian literally pulls the exact same move on him that he pulled on in the initial joust that he ran, where he killed the guy's horse. I think it was Sir Humphreys, right? It was Beastberry's horse. So he had Beastberry on his team. Probably should have talked to the one guy who's faced off against him, guarded against that possibility.
Just so you know, he went for the horse.
It's a humble hedge knight. We'll get there. Not a lot of experience. Also, just like I love, right as the trial is kicking off and all the horses are taking off, and there's like the moment of hesitation from Dunk and his horse, and it's cutting to Dunk, and he's like, or no, sorry, not Dunk, he's cutting to Egg, and he's like, go, go. And you're like thinking back to the scene of Egg training with Thunder from a couple episodes ago. And like that, I think the Dunk Egg relationship if I had one like bone to pick about the episode, is that there's not like just not enough of that in this episode.
That's
Um,
fair.
because all we really get there are those moments of Egg. We get a couple really great moments, and we'll talk about them.
Cheering
But
him on.
Egg cheering him on and like telling him to get up, and the wait moment we'll talk about. Um, so those brief moments like stand out even more because there aren't as many of them. So
Yeah.
I think all that is really cool. And as we continue to talk about this episode, one of my like kind of like guiding questions or like guiding ideas was like they really focus on when Dunk puts his helmet and visor on and how it obscures his vision. And
Hmm.
so as I was watching the episode for a second time, I was thinking like, okay, what are they trying to say about Dunk like putting the helmet on and then ultimately taking it back off at the end of the episode, and what
Yeah,
happens in the
yeah.
middle there, and what is that trying to tell us about Dunk? So that was like one of the questions that I had going into the rewatch, and I think the episode does really answer those questions. Um,
Hmm.
but so we jump into the flashback, and we're like, you got something?
Can I just,
Yeah,
before we go into the flashback, just to add on to what you just said, less on like the analytical side and just more on like the technical side of this, just like the way that this episode was shot was incredibly cool. Like you said, like they focus a lot on like putting the helmet on and taking it off, and like when you put the helmet on, you know, like the way that they shoot it changes, and it's just like the intensity that is brought with that, like was so it was so nerve wracking and just like exhilarating to watch. The
yep.
way that they filmed this episode was absolutely astonishing. I loved it so much.
I totally agree. And there were some really interesting tidbits that I got like from like the after episode interviews about that side of things that I think where there were moments. Well, so they basically said how with the limited budget that they have for production, they really leaned on fog as like a basically a cheat code to avoid having to like stage and show a lot of like the periphery of the trial of seven. So like in those moments where we're just kind of getting Doug and Arian,
Hmm.
they didn't have to put all the time and money and effort into showing what all the other, I guess it would be 12 fighters were
Right,
doing.
right.
I think that like not only did they like pull it off to where that works, it like works to the episode's benefit because like it is then so like intensely like intimately focused just on
Hmm.
Dunk and Arian, and like they use like for most of the battle like there's no music, like there's no surrounding sound. It's just like the sound effects of the fight and of their breathing, and it's like you're just really like living in it, and it's so gruesome like the injuries and wounds they sustain, like you feel them.
Hmm. And just like, I think it sticks true to just the theme of the show so far of just, you know, this is a story about Dunk and Egg. That's what it is. And so like
Yeah.
to have this huge battle scene really not show what all of the others are doing, I think it because there's multiple points where I was just like, oh man, like what's everybody else doing, you know? But we don't see that. All that we see is Dunk and fighting Arian, and but like that's what the show is. It's a show about Dunk and Egg, and so I just like that it stuck true to that throughout this episode as well. Um, Sorry, I derailed us there for a second.
No.
Let's
That's
get into the
important.
flashback.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we jump into the flashback and we're with young Dunk and his friend Rafe, um, as they're just like trying to scrounge a living in King's Landing, living in Flea's Bottom. And so we follow their exploits, like their dream of getting out of the city, not even really Dunk's dream. We'll get into that, but Rafe's dream of getting out of the city is basically foiled because they don't have enough money. And Rafe, I want to talk some about like Rafe's role in Dunk's story and like this story as a whole. But like basically, Rafe can't get out of her own way. Um, she like multiple times goes back to like pickpocket a known thief, a dangerous
Hmm.
thief who like has a history with Dunk and Rafe, and she can't help herself. Her emotions like get in the way. She does it one too many times and it gets her killed. And
Yep.
that's kind of what sets off the chain of events of Sir Arlen stepping in and Dunk abandoning this life and following Sir Arlen to like I guess like what is his only possibility for another day, you know?
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, no, the flea bottom stuff, I thought I like how you brought up like the idea of like you on rewatch you were wondering if the flashback would like sit well within the episode. I didn't think about that as I was watching the episode, which I think makes sense because you know you're just watching it through, you're just taking it in as it comes to you. But I when you pose it like that, I do think it works really well because like you said, it's a really good framework for the before and the after of the flashback. I like what we get in Flea Bottom here, with Rafe and Dunk. Um, Something that I thought about while watching what the introductory scene to Flea Bottom is, you know, I'm not even going to ask if you have this thought because I know you have this thought. Like, you know, that thought that you get every now and then where you're just like, you know what? I could live in the medieval times. I could do
oh
that.
yeah,
This depiction of Flea Bottom is a good reminder that no, we couldn't. You know.
I'll keep my central AC and running water.
Yeah, yeah. So immediately
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that's why those thoughts just stay up here and we
Mhm.
think that we could survive in medieval times, but there's no way. Um but yeah, man, it was really fun to watch this like young, innocent, naive Dunk. And naive's not exactly like the best word, but just like I-
I
it's
think it is.
he's
That's actually one of the words that I had written down too, because
it's wholesome too, you know, like
it
he
is.
hasn't really
Yeah.
changed too much from the version that we see in as a young boy in Flea Bottom to the grown hedge knight that we have now. I mean, the basic mannerisms are still there, you know what I mean?
It's yes, I completely agree. And that was like kind of one of my guiding questions for the flashback was like, all right, what is this trying to tell us about Dunk as a character? And I think it's right that it's like one showing us that like that inherent kindness has always been there, like
Mhm.
reaffirming that because he like one of the first things we see him do is try to, you know, mercy kill the soldier who is lying about to die on the beach. Um we also see that he is naive.
Mhm.
like you said, I think he is because like it's Rafe who has to explain to him like people are gonna hold grudges. Like things don't really get
Mhm.
resolved. If somebody's upset about something, they're gonna hurt you for it. Like that's
Yeah.
an unfair fact of life. So you get that, and like you also kind of see that like the naivete like show up again when Dunk is like, well, what if my mom comes back for me? And so I think like what it's showing us is that like at his core, like he has always just kind of been like this lost, sad, lonely boy, like looking for his mom. Right. Like, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we also see that like Dunk says, yes, I've seen somebody die, but never like that in reference to the soldier dying, which like yeah, it was pretty messed up, but like in like the world of Game of Thrones, like it's pretty peaceful death.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
like it shows me that like what we're seeing happen unfold here in these events are like this is Dunk's first real introduction to like the how like gruesome and brutal this world can really be.
Well, we
Right?
also see the side of him, like the brave, courageous side of him too,
Yeah.
where you know, like you said, the bandit he kills Rafe, and Dunk's immediate instinct is just rage. I'm
Yes.
going after this guy, and you know, he's going to defend his friend. He's defending the innocent. Not, I mean, you know, Rafe obviously, yeah, she stole from the bandit. I'm not saying that meant she needed to
Yeah.
die, but you know, it's his role has always been to defend the innocent, and that is something that we saw reflected as a young boy and now into a grown man. Um, and just like another part of the young Dunk character that I thought I really connected with, and like watching the through line of the character, is just like the moment where they're sitting underneath their in their little like hideout, which is underneath a goat like sty,
Yeah.
and you know, Rafe is like just like or Dunk is just like, well, I just want to be with you, and Rafe's like, why? Because you love me, and Dunk's like, well, yeah,
Yeah, I guess
of
so.
course
Yeah.
I do, you know? Like, and it's just like, it's like without hesitation. He's like, yeah, like I love you, you know, like you're all I have. Like, I want
Yeah.
to be with you. And just like, there's nothing hidden about this character. Um,
That's a good way to put it.
yeah, it was just a great utilization of a flashback, I think.
Yeah, and I think so. Picking up on one thing you said about how he defends the innocent. I think not only does he do that, but like he sees the innocent, or he sees the good in everybody. With
Mm,
somebody like Rafe, who is kind of shown to be like a pretty scrappy, rascally kind of character over the course of like these events. And nonetheless, Dunk loves her and like springs into action to protect her, like however and whenever he can. And then I think what's really interesting is that like that is mirrored in his introduction to Sir Arlen, to
mhm.
where like yes, Sir Arlen steps out to like honestly like brutally kill these bandits, like the decapitation and the way he took out those bandits was pretty gnarly. So yes, he is like stepping out and like doing the knightly thing of defending the innocent, but he's hammered, like stumbling out of
Oh
an
my gosh,
inn where
yeah.
he's presumably engaging in like other unlikely activities. Like he is clearly like an incredibly flawed person, but Dunk still sees the good in him and the good in what he did, and like latches on to that and the possibility of that, and like determining what the rest of his life is going to look like.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what he needed in that moment.
Yeah.
And so of course, he's young, he's lost, he's impressionable. This is the like you mentioned earlier, this is the only logical thought that he has right now for like how to see another day, because he was at his end and then Sir Arlen Pennytree came to the rescue. So what else is there to do besides follow him for who knows how long, until he
Yeah.
finally was on the brink of collapse, and Sir Arlen was like, you know what, fine, here's some
Yep.
water, you know,
And you know what he says to him? First words, get up.
get up,
Yep. And
boom,
that, I
snap back
think,
into post flashback.
exactly. And I think that is like a perfect distillation of like what being a knight is in
Mm,
Dunk's eyes, is
mm,
just get up no matter what, like keep
no
getting
matter
up.
what.
And that's, it's what he hears. Yeah, exactly. It's what he hears Sir Owen say to him in that moment, um, to get him up. And then it's also brought back when after the duel with Arian, as he's about to fall and die. It's the combination of Egg shouting, get up, get up, get up, and then just like that supernatural moment of hearing it from
Hmm.
Sir Arlen too.
Yeah.
And this is a little bit out of order, but since we're talking about this, it's going back to something we talked about last week, the question of, was Dunk ever actually knighted? To which I think we can like pretty like definitively say no. Like I feel pretty confident that Arlen never actually knighted him after the events
Yeah.
of last
No,
week.
I'm with you.
And I think so. I think like what we get here in that moment is like a kind of almost like another spiritual knighting moment for Dunk, where he's rising up in the name of like, of Sir Arlen, of his master, knighting him, telling him to stand. Dunk stands. He's like struggling to stand up, using his sword, stands in that moment and like to the face of like glory from the crowd, and in like the face of what is the face of like wrongdoer of
Hmm.
an Aryan, to like face off against him in that moment and to have the strength to do it. And so that kind of felt to me like, I also paired with last week when Raymond was knighted, where that was almost kind of like a parallel, like spiritual knighting moment for Dunk. Like he's had those pair moments in the last couple of weeks, to where now I think even if he wasn't formally knighted, he's a knight.
Yeah, no, 100%. This is like just reaffirming the idea that, this is trying to tell us it's not the ceremonial touching of the shoulders that makes a knight. It's the man that makes a knight, or woman,
Yeah,
because Brianna Tarth is one heck of a knight. And
it's
like
the commitment to the
it's the
ideals. Yeah,
person under the armor that makes the knight. And I think that the way that they f- flowed from the flashback into the battle again, like you said, it was really like another like ceremonial, like metaphorical knighting for Dunk within himself. And there's moments in this battle sequence that, I mean, to give this episode more, even more credit than what we already have. I knew Dunk was not going to die because
Oh
there's
yeah.
3 more novellas with Dunk and Egg in it. I knew this character was not going to die, and there was points in this episode where I thought to myself, "Is he gonna
How do you
die?"
survive? Yeah.
Like I genuinely questioned it, and I was like, "I know he's not, but like how?" Like Arian is picking him apart, just a slice
Yep.
here, a stab there. You're like, how in the world is he gonna get out of this? And it's just that get up, just get up one more time.
Yep.
That's all it takes.
Exactly. Like that. Exactly. Like the fight between him and Arian was just like a perfect microcosm for what his life probably up to that moment has been, is just like constantly being poked at and stabbed at and prodded at and knocked over and just having to continually get up over and over again. So
Well,
I think that's perfect.
and let's talk about like a major triumphant moment. We've watched this entire episode basically, Dunk get beaten and battered, even in the flashback. Like up until the flashback, he gets majorly injured. In the flashback, he gets beaten, battered. He's stabbed in the calf. He gets infected. He's trying to follow Arlen around. He's about to die, and then we get out and he continues to get picked apart, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like I am come on, Dunk. And then he
Yeah.
finally gets the blow to Arian's I mean, dude, I'm telling you, hit the femoral artery. I don't know
Oh
how
yeah.
that dude kept going,
I thought he was going to
but
bleed out.
I did too. And his buddy hits it, and you're just like, let's go,
And
come on, Dunk.
correct me if I'm wrong. I have to go back and watch it maybe a third time to confirm it, but it looked like to get that hit on Arian, he like flipped the way he was holding his sword, like reversed the grip on it, and almost like a
Mm,
sneaky kind of way to like slide the blade across his leg like that. I have to go back and rewatch to
I'll have to
confirm
check
it,
that, because that
but
would
it
be
would be
sick.
really interesting if he, like the way he got that like kind of decisive blow on Arian was in almost what could be perceived as like a non-knightly way to go about combat.
Which I'm sure is something that maybe Sir Arlen taught him a couple of times.
Maybe so.
Um,
And
so
I I also think like it's, Arian has displayed some of the same characteristics in his jousts and his games.
just a few. But then I loved also we get Dunk has won. He's beaten the crap out of Arian, and Arian says, "I yield," and nope, that's not good enough. Let's drag him by his heel to I forget his name, but the master of the tournament, the Lord
Ashford,
uh
Lord Ashford.
Ashford.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord Ashford, and just holds his head up and just say it, say
Like
it,
a
makes him say
petulant
it.
child. Yeah.
And dude, oh gosh, I mean, it chills. I was just like, oh, this is such good TV, so good.
One trope that I'm really glad they avoided in that moment is so many times you get that moment where the hero is like getting the winning blows against the bad guy and he like loses control and has to have somebody pull him off of the bad guy in the moment before he like beats him to death. No, once Arian says I yield, he stops punching him. He does drag him up and make him declare it to Lord Ashford and everybody else. But once he yields, like he is able to turn that violence off like
Yeah,
immediately,
that's a really
which
good point.
you can
Well,
see that going the other way to where it has to be somebody like Raymond pulling him off and off of Arian at the last moment.
in the reverse of that, though, another trope that I'm glad they didn't do, which granted wouldn't have made sense considering we know Dunk makes it out of this alive. But okay, well, Arian yields. Dunk in his naivety just gets up, thinks
And
that
then
he's won, and then
Arian,
Arian stabs in the back or something like that.
yeah,
I'm really glad we didn't go that route either.
and also I didn't think I'd be doing this here, but I think we got to give Arian a little bit of credit here, um, mainly for what like I think was some unexpected like combat prowess. I didn't think he would be able to hold his own against Dunk. I know he kind of got a cheap shot in to start with the gut shot. But again, Dunk probably should have seen that coming. And then once they're, in kind of hand-to-hand combat, Arian holds his own for a little bit there.
Dude, I mean, he's saucy with it. I mean, I would expect the Prince of the Realm to have some good training. I will
Hey,
say,
he's no
but
Joffrey.
I no, he's no Joffrey. But I'll also give some kudos to the actor who plays Prince Arian, Finn Bennett,
Oh, he's great.
because
Yeah,
dude,
he's
the
so
moment
good.
where Dunk goes down for the second time, and it looks like he's dead, and he's hearing Egg on the sides like saying, "Get up, get up." Arlen comes in, in his flashback memory, whatever, and he comes back too, and he stands back up, and the crowd starts to cheer, and then Arian turns around and sees that Dunk is still standing, and the look that Finn Bennett portrays on his face of just like,
Just come
oh
on.
boy, like oh
Yeah,
boy, and like
that
that,
was
dude,
really good.
I felt that,
Yeah,
I that was good.
but again, a begrudging respect to Aaron. He throws the helmet back on. He's like, all right, well, let's
Yep.
keep going.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, listen, he fought
Didn't
to the
win.
bitter end.
He sure
Um,
did.
but yeah, so I mean, Dunk wins this encounter. We go back into uh, the fallout of this. Dunk's armor is stuck inside of him, which is also saving his life at the moment. And I know you want to talk about this a little bit, so I'll let you take the lead here. But the scene that we get with Dunk, begging Prince Balon to serve him.
Yeah, I mean, like I guess like that, like in that moment is like Dunk thinks that he's like achieved everything that he set out to, right? Like he's made a
Mhm.
name for himself as a knight, and he now has like the opportunity of a lifetime to like have the heir to the Iron Throne not only know him but like respect him and want him in his service. And it just does that classic Game of Thrones thing where it pulls the rug out from me when you least expect it. This
Yeah.
time, last week it was like in the positive where you get Baelor coming out, and now it's like the flip side of the coin where he does the honorable, noble, triumphant thing. You think he's achieved his goal. No, he's dead.
Yep.
And so it does just kind of, I mean, this pushes us pretty significantly down the road to getting to like the ruin of the Targaryen reign, which is
Yeah.
another kind of interesting factor here.
Yeah, no, I thought it was like just so disheartening to see. You get this like recognition for Dunk finally. This recognition from Prince Baelor himself of just like the realm needs good men, and he's like alluding. It's like you are one of those good men, and like then you start to if something's not right with this dude. And again, I'm just like head trauma, but they take
Yeah,
off the
the
helmet
way that
and you
was played.
hear the mushiness, and you're just like,
Ooh.
oh no. And then he turns
And you see
around
it.
and he's got a chunk of his head missing. Yep. That's rough, buddy. That and
Yeah, you're
to
not
quote Sokka from Avatar: The Last Airbender, actually this is quoting Zuko.
Zuko.
That's
Yeah,
rough, pal.
that's rough, buddy. Yeah,
But I do have a question. Who does this make the heir apparent to the Iron Throne?
that's what I was just thinking about, right? Because does Baelor have any sons? I think Baelor has a son, Valar.
That's
I think
I'm
Valar is
doing it.
Baelor's son. And that was the character who Arian, who is Makar's
Valar.
son,
Yeah.
and Baelor's nephew.
Yeah.
Arian like taunted Valar before he pulled out Beesbury for the joust. I think that was episode 2, maybe.
Yeah.
And so I think Valar would then be next as Baelor's firstborn son.
No, yeah, I just looked it up. It's Valar.
Okay, it does go down to Valar.
Yeah. Prince Valar is next in line to the Iron Throne, and I don't really know what that means. I think I just, I think I honestly, I think I need to do some homework, and just rebrush up on the Targaryen line of succession to see where this leads us up to where we end with the Mad King. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of context around this episode because there's also the flashback kind of happens in the backdrop of the end of the Blackfire Rebellion, which I am not qualified to speak on because I have a general understanding of what went on there, but I haven't read the books. I don't really know exactly. So if there's anybody out there who wants to educate us on the Blackfire Rebellion, please do.
Something that it sounds like I would like to see potentially played out, but
Yeah, me too.
no.
Um, yeah, there are going to be a lot of repercussions for what happened here in Ashford Meadow. Because yeah, I think it goes down to Villar, who, by all accounts, I'm pretty sure is not very well regarded. He obviously does not have any kids. I think if Villar were to die, it would then go to Maekar, maybe,
I think that's right.
and then
Because he's
obviously
the
down
brother.
Maekar's line.
Yeah.
Suffice to say, there's like a lot of Targaryen drama that's probably going to unfold from here.
Yeah. Yep. What else? That's the end of the episode. What else do you got?
I think it's pretty crazy that it was Maekar who killed his brother. Because you get the line from, and I didn't get this until the rewatch, but one of Baelor's last lines is basically him saying that, yeah, I think it was Maekar's mace that did it, like talking about his helmet. So that's, I mean, just going back to the Targaryen drama, like that is going to be really interesting to see unfold. Like, did Maekar do it on purpose? Did he see this as an opportunity to get closer to the throne?
Yeah.
You also get like the only other Maekar moment of the episode is like an actual, like, seemingly like a genuine father moment when Arian is in distress. Like, you get a moment where Maekar tries to run over to him and is like calling out for him.
My boy.
Yeah. Which like would be weird if he's doing that and also like taking this moment as an opportunity to kill his brother and get closer to the throne. Wouldn't put it past Targaryens though.
He does just kind of give off that duplicitous energy though. So
yeah, it's very true. I just love seeing Egg just like put it all out there on the line for Dunk. Like the moment where he's screaming, "Wait!" because Dunk is about to stand right before they signal his death, and like imploring him to get up. It just that's the heart of the show. All this other stuff going on around it is like so cool, and like the implications for like the realm as a whole. Like I love to talk about that stuff, but the only reason that it's fun to talk about is because it's growing out of like what's happening to characters that we love and care about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm with you. The one, you mentioned this earlier, but like the one thing that you could really pull out of this episode that was lacking was the Dunk and Egg, the Dunk and Egg energy. You know, the interaction between those two, but you can't really have that in a episode where you know, it's all about Dunk fighting for his life.
Yeah, exactly, and going back before his meeting Egg.
Yeah.
I imagine the finale will be very Egg heavy.
I think the finale will obviously just kind of just be the repercussions of this. You know, dealing with Dunk almost got what he wanted. He almost was able to serve the heir apparent to the realm. You know, get into that position of nobility. And now that seemingly has been taken away, what does the future for Dunk look like, and how does Egg fit into that?
Yeah. Really interesting questions that we get to see answered, because like this felt like a traditional kind of season finale episode. So the fact we get a whole extra episode after this, I'm excited.
I think I'm good on this episode.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we can throw out some spotlights if you want. I mean, I think this is like the Dunk episode. I think the young Dunk actor did a pretty good job. The Ray factor, I think she did a good job of like kind of just like playing that like character to push and like poke and prod at Dunk. I mean, just like the stars of the show continue to shine for me.
Yeah, to throw out a bat signal spotlight scene, I'm just gonna give it to that initial lance through the gut, followed by mace to the helmet scene. Just jaw on the floor, genuinely shocked that
really set the tone.
This is how we're starting off the episode. It shocked me to my core.
I agree. I'll wrap us up here by kind of tying a bow on my thoughts about the helmet and his obscured vision, right? Because the helmet goes on, his vision's obscured, he gets knocked out. He then gets up and like continues to fight with the helmet on a little bit, gets just like pieced up in this battle, gets a dagger going through his like eye slot, finally takes the helmet off, like his face is exposed, he gets like a view of the arena, and it's just like kind of symbolic to me of like pairing it with the flashback of like Dunk kind of starting to see the world as it is for the first time. Or like, I think that's kind of what I get from the flashback. And then here, it's not necessarily, maybe not seeing the world for what it is, but like being able to kind of see it in a new light and like see it, like present himself to the world in a different light now.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, we'll wrap this episode discussion there.
That's beautiful.
Thank you, my friend.
Meanwhile, I was just thinking about, man, this dude can get poked with swords a heck of a lot of times.
I was actually having some serious questions about like, what is this chainmail isn't doing too much. I know it's good for slashing attacks, not stabbing attacks, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Chainmail will protect against that, which
it'll brush it off. It won't stop the stab.
Yeah.
But again, at the end of the day, the chainmail being in his abdominal wound saved his life. So it did something.
Yeah. Thank you, Steely Pate. I love how the armor Steely Pate is just kind of now Dunk's hype man. Like he was there tending to the wounds. Like that man, that's not his job. He probably has a lot of people waiting on armor.
Nope, that is out of the kindness of his heart. Listen, Steely Pate, he's a goat. He's an all-timer.
It's just, okay, actually on a serious note, this is my final thought. Going back to like Dunk seeing the best in everybody, like Dunk brings out the best version of the people that come into contact with him. You see it with Egg. You see it with Steely Pate, who's like giving this guy armor for the cheap, gave him the shield upgrade for free. You see it with Baylor being inspired to like make the honorable decision that ultimately like takes his life. But you know what? Like in Westeros, you die if you're good, you die if you're bad. So you might as well do good. And that's kind of what people get from their like interactions with Dunk. And to have that kind of character in this world, I think is something special here.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's actually, that is very true. The nobility and the genuine nature of Dunk and his character, I think it takes that out of people, and they're almost like shocked to meet Dunk and realize like who he is as a person, and that he's able to evoke that reaction out of people, and help them find their best version of themselves too. That's a really good point. I do believe that wraps our discussion for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms in the Name of the Mother. You happy with where we've ended today?
I am. I think we're gonna have to find a way to talk about this finale next week. We got lucky today with the holiday schedule where we're able to record on a Monday afternoon. But we got one more week to figure it out so we can get you guys the coverage that we know that you so desire.
Wait, but before we go, you had a couple tidbits, didn't you?
I do, yeah.
Hit me with the tidbits.
All right. I assume that you don't have too many bits. You don't have too many bits or tids right now. You've been
watching a whole lot of Korean cooking class wars.
Yeah. So let me fill you in on what's been going on over here, because I've been doing a couple things. We talked about this a little bit. Something that I'm very excited to be getting into in the next couple of weeks is I will be undergoing my first ever Dungeons and Dragons campaign. Me, Maddie, and my sister Carly are doing a campaign led by Carly's boyfriend Jeff, and we just yesterday actually got together, created our characters, put together our character sheets, developed backgrounds, and we're getting together in a couple of weeks to kick the campaign off. And I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm very excited to do it.
I will put this out there for those listening, just to show you how in tune Jordan and I are. I've done one Dungeons and Dragons campaign before. This is his first, and we both, without talking about this at all, picked Dragon Mage clerics. So just to show you, or Dragonborn clerics.
Wait, you went Dragonborn cleric? I went Dragonborn paladin. So
Oh no. Yeah, no, that's what I meant. That's what I meant.
yeah,
Yeah, paladin. We were dragonborn paladins. So
yep.
we're in lockstep there. I would also like the record to state that I've tried to get Jordan and our other friends to do Dungeons and Dragons campaigns for going on a year and a half now, and nobody will do it. But I understand why, because we can't get together as frequently as we need to.
I want to do this, man. We're gonna get you in on this campaign.
I
We're gonna have to find a way. It's just one of those things. Like I don't think like you kind of have to be in person to do it.
No, you have to. It's just not as fun.
Yeah.
When the other campaign that I was part of, it was like happening in while I moved, and we tried like Zoom for a little. It's just not as fun over online. It's just you got to be there.
Well, we'll figure out a way. Maybe as things start to simmer down over in your neck of the woods as we get into the spring and early summer, we can figure out a way to get a campaign going.
We just got to convince the other two.
Hopefully this first one does the job for me.
Fair. I didn't mean those two. I meant the other two.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, what else you got?
Okay. So while in my free time when I've not been preparing my Dragonborn paladin coming back to reform himself from a life of crime, I've been doing some reading. Since we recorded our last episode, I started and finished Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping.
Nice.
It's so good, man. It's the exact same feeling that you had reading like the first Hunger Games book back like 10 years ago or whatever it was, 10, 15 years
Really
ago.
get you hyped up for the new movie?
I was going to say, we went through actually, I don't think we did ever on the episode or on the podcast go through like our just movie hype rankings. I have a letterbox list. I had this movie, for those of you who don't know, so Sunrise on the Reaping tells a story of Haymitch's games, the 50th games, 24 years before Katniss's first games, like the second quarter quell where they like double the amount of tributes. A bunch of crazy stuff happens. And this book came out last year and the movie is coming out this November. So pretty quick turnaround. When I first put my list together of hype rankings, I think it was at like 14 out of like 20 something. It's at 6 now.
Whoa.
Yeah. Dude,
whoa. That must have been some book.
Dude, I know you don't like to read. Get the audiobook or something.
No, it's not that I don't like to read. I don't read.
You just don't do it. I just like kind of on a whim picked up the hardcover of it. And yeah, in the span of like less than a week, I just couldn't put it down. Forget how good these books are.
Suit really well to an audiobook. I bet the audiobook experience for that is really good.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's
Maybe
just
I'll
like
have to make that my commute listen.
It does a really good job. Have you seen the prequel that came out a couple of years ago?
The Songbird and Snakes. Yeah.
Yeah. So the book does actually a really good job of like connecting Ballad of Songbird and Snakes to like all the way through to like the original Katniss books. There's like some really interesting through lines like throughout the whole thing that they kind of weave together, and like just like the depth that it gives the Haymitch character. It's really cool.
That is really cool. I love the Hunger Games. It's interesting. As you know, I'm in class with some younger people, and it's interesting to talk to them about stuff because like the way that you and I think about like the MCU and stuff like that, they almost feel that way about the Hunger Games just because of like when those movies came out and how old they were in relation to those movies. They feel very strongly about them. It's interesting.
It makes sense, dude. Like they're pretty formative, and like funny enough, we actually, Maddie and I the other night at my behest, like went back and rewatched the original movie. Really good movie.
Phenomenal film.
It's a great movie. Like, you don't, I didn't remember like, just like how genuinely like kind of like artistic of a movie it was. Like they take some big swings in that movie with like the directing and editing decisions that like, I don't think you really see in the later movies.
Yeah, no, I love that movie.
Some pretty crazy tracker jacker hallucination scenes. Yeah. Just some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But Hunger Games stock going up this year for me.
Glad to hear it. Anything else? Any other tidbits?
Last one, and then we can get out of here. Only other reading material that I will shout out is finally, after like a year-long hiatus, Nice House by the Sea is coming back out. Issue 7 just came out earlier this month. This is a comic series written by James Tynion. Tynion, his like
I
website
thought it was
name is
Tinyan.
Tiny. I think it is because his website name is like Tiny Onion. So I think it's Tynion. But anyway,
Yeah.
been like a year between issues, like between 6 and now issue 7. And I had to go back and reread the first volume. But like now we're fully getting into like supernatural alien post-apocalyptic class warfare. And everything's starting to come together and it's crazy. It's crazy, man.
So many words, so many,
I'm trying
so
to see,
many
do I
culture
have it right
words.
here?
I will say this though before we go. I did
go.
get I got into my comic shop last week on Friday, I want to say. I can't remember exactly, but I was like 3 weeks behind on my pull list because I just haven't been able to make it in. And so I picked up some stuff, and I'm glad I got in because I got some good stuff. I haven't been able to read it yet, but my backlog is getting thick. I picked up the second trade paperback of Absolute Batman.
Ooh, the Bane one.
So yeah, the Bane one. So
Nice.
that's number one on the list to read when I have a little bit more time to do so. While I was in there, I also saw a one-off issue of, it was like a side story coming out of the DCKO event going on right now, and on the cover was the Joker with the main character from Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, a book that I've recently read that I freaking loved, and that crossover is absurd. So I picked that up because it was a cool cover.
I will say I've read the final issue of DCKO, number 4. It's about what you probably expect. If
Yeah.
you're going to that story, to that like that series for storytelling, like don't do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it anyway.
But
it was nice to
right.
pick up my books.
Yeah. It's going to be a pretty big week for pulls, I think. I think there's like a new Absolute Batman coming out. The final issue of Ultimate Spider-Man comes out this week, number 24.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm deep in it now. I got at least like an issue a week that I'm going to pick up.
Yeah, no, once I have more time to sit down and read my comics, I'm telling you, my backlog right now it's like I'm creating more homework for myself. It's absurd, but I'll have more free time, so that'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to reading comics again. I really am. Really.
You're getting there, man.
Should we wrap this episode?
Let's get you out of here, man. Let's do it. Yeah, I mean, we got an episode here. We talked about Night of the Seven Kingdoms. That's really all we ever wanted to do. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, man. You're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's getting brighter. So keep heading towards it. That's what I'll tell you.
Working. Trying.
Thank you guys at home for listening, for watching on whatever platform that you're on. We really appreciate you guys. Again, thank you so much for getting us up to 50 subscribers on YouTube. To be able to see that growth in the short time that we've been on there is like super exciting and like invigorating for us as we kind of continue to, do our best to put out, quality conversations talking about the stuff that we love, and to see that reflected in you guys out there investing your time and your energy and listening to and watching along with us. Thank you. So we're on the socials, as Austin mentioned. We're on all of them. Hit us up at Between Two Batcaves with the number 2 everywhere except for the app formerly known as Twitter. So we're Between Two Batcaves with the number 2 at TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We're on all of them. We're on Blue Sky, and app formerly known as Twitter, B2 Batcaves with the number 2. That's where you can find us. Let us know how we're doing. And yeah, now that we're at 50, it's fair game. Hit us up in the comments, drop us an email, give us an idea for our multiversal mix-up episode, and we just might talk about it.
Not just might, we will. We have promised you that we will do that. So please give us some ideas to do. Before we wrap it up here, Jordan, just reminded me, I meant to do this earlier in the episode, so I'm going to do it real quick. I want to just take a brief second to highlight a comment that we got earlier this week.
Please. Yes.
A little comment corner here. This is on our most recent YouTube video for our review of the last episode of the Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
I'm glad you're doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wanted to highlight this because this really brought joy to both of us. This, and I'm going to butcher your handle here, so I'm so sorry. This is coming from on YouTube at Saiganes. Whoa. Okay. SAIGANESYAJONNALAGADDA 3782. If that's you, thank you so much for leaving your comment, because I can't read all of it because it would take me about 15 minutes because you went in on this comment, and we really appreciate that. But I'm gonna read the first bit here. Hey, this came up on my YouTube refresh and I'm subscribing. I really enjoyed the discussion. Sorry for the long post, but it was a great time listening, so I have a lot to write. This person then goes into several paragraphs going through their thoughts on our thoughts of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms episode 4. And I just want to say thank you so much. This was really fun for us.
Yes, absolutely. Especially for a couple guys who haven't read the source material, to like get the insight from people who do have that background, but like also like are engaging with us, like not as like you guys are idiots because you don't know, but like here's something that you might not have known. And like that's the most, that's the best part of like this whole experience, is just like talking with people who sometimes know more than we do about certain things, educating us, and just like engaging in conversation is the best thing that we can do.
Yeah, no, keep up the love over there. Again, really appreciate that comment. It's just really fun to see that people are getting a response to what we're doing. That's been a cool part of this process for both of us. So we're going to close out here for real this time. Quick reminder here before you close out of the podcast or video app of your choice, just to leave a like, a rating, a review, subscribe, share the show, all of the things. You know the buttons on the platform that you're choosing to consume Between Two Batcaves on. Just hit the buttons. Guys, it really helps us out. 5 stars, couple sentences, subscribe, ring the bell, all that stuff.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be back next week for the A Night of the Seven Kingdoms Season 1 finale review, which I'm sure we'll be getting into the weeds in as well. And after that, hopefully, a listener submission episode. So, until then, from our Batcaves to yours, thanks for hanging with us, and we will see you next time.
See ya.